Welcome everybody to another episode of Ina After Dark. This is a space that I created just to come and just shoot the breeze, just to hang out at the end of the day. So sometimes I'm going to teach you something, sometimes I motivate you, sometimes I inspire you, sometimes I come and I answer questions that people ask me throughout the day, which is the case today. There was a question that got posted in this group about dealing with haters. So we had somebody in our group who was posting things on groups in her area, right? It's as if I go to a business coaches group and I post things there for people who are looking for business coaches, right? And I go and I say, I'm hosting a booster this week, right? Come and check it out. So what she was getting was, I want to say like a backslash. I know there's a word for it and it's escaping my mind. What is that word for backlash? She was getting a lot of people saying, hey, and people that she knows, by the way, people saying, hey, what you're doing is trying to exploit other people in your area. You're trying to get money out of them. I really don't know. I didn't read the comments. I don't know exactly what they said, but they made her basically take down the post, right? She's like, oh my God, like what is going on? And she took it down. So she's obviously, shaken. She feels a little bit gun shy at this point on posting anything about anything, just in case people think that she's trying to steal people's monies or take advantage of people or, whatever it is that they said. So she's like, okay, how do I handle this, right? I don't want to be treated that way. How do I deal with mean people? So I'm going to tell you something. I've been doing this for 15 months. And every time that I have had somebody react adversely to something that I do, I've done one of two things. Thing number one is to remove them, right? They made this comment in my space, so like in my personal Facebook profile, or they made this comment in my group, or they made this comment in my Facebook page. As the owner of those accounts, I actually have the ability to delete their comments. And I have stuck to a rule, and this is something I did even before I had a business, that in my space, nobody speaks negatively. I don't accept that. I don't allow it. This is my wall. I'm not, you think about like the First Amendment, right? Like the ability to speak your mind and the ability to say whatever you want should be there, and this is a free country. Not on my wall, it isn't. In my wall, I get to do whatever I want. It's sort of like in your house, you have your house rules, right? I have a rule in my house that you have to put the toilet seat down whenever you go to the bathroom. I have a rule in my house that you don't leave, dishes soaking in the in the sink. You put them in the dishwasher. I have a rule in my house that it's okay to have your shoes on in the house. You don't have to take them off, right? But in somebody else's house, it may be different, right? Everybody may be putting things in the sink for one person to clear them out. They may not care whether you leave the toilet seat up or not. And you definitely have to take your shoes off in their house, right? It's their house. That's how you should think about your space, your personal Facebook profile, your business Facebook group, your business Facebook page. They're yours. That's why you have the ability to remove people whenever you want. You have the ability to delete comments that you don't like. And I've done this more than once on my personal page. If somebody posts something, a comment that I don't like, I delete it. And it doesn't even have to be offensive. I just don't like it. And I don't want other people to read it and other people to think that I'm associated with that kind of thinking. So I delete it. So it is your prerogative to keep your spaces clean. Okay, so I've done one of two things. One, delete the comment. I have unfriended people and blocked them. Sometimes I've unfriended. I don't always block them, right? Especially if people that I know. If it's people that I know, I may unfriend them. Like just unfriend them, right? They're acquaintances anyway. We're Facebook friends and nothing else. You're not being a very good Facebook friend. I'm going to Facebook unfriend you. I won't unfriend you in real life, but this is Facebook friending. So I unfriend you on Facebook. That's it. Another thing that I have done is confront them. So something that I learned, and this is a great story for you guys to hear because this was like formative for me, When I was 23 or 24, let me think, this was back in 2004? 2004. I was 23. And I was working at a big company, and I was on the phone having a conference call with a couple people, and I dropped the ball. There was some part of a project that I did not do fully. And it wasn't because I didn't want to, it was because I was doing other things that were more important, right? So this that somebody particularly cared about fell through the cracks, and I didn't do it. Okay, I own up to it. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So the person on the other side, who was an older male, he berated me on the phone. He really went to town telling me how incompetent I was. And I was shaking. And I hung up the phone and I cried. And then I said to myself, I can't let this be like the lesson that I am incompetent. So I called, one of my mentors, and he wasn't available. But somebody else who was also like higher up than me, he was not my mentor, but he was higher up. He was there. So I called him, and he was willing to talk. I called him. I told him what happened. And you know what he told me? And for some reason, like if people tell me to do something courageous, I will just go and do it. I may have not done it of my own volition, but if I know it's the right thing to do and somebody else has approved it, I just go and do it. It doesn't matter how much courage it takes. And he said, I want you to call him back and call him on it. Tell him that it was not an appropriate way for him to address you. And I'm like, that sounds risky, but you know what? You say that's the right thing to do. I'm here willing to learn. I got nothing to lose. I'm going to do it. I called the man back up. And I told him, look, I understand that I didn't do that part of the project, but what you just did was not right. You totally put me down in front of other people. You made me feel like crap. You're like, that was not the right way to handle the situation. It was very inappropriate for you to treat me that way in front of others. Imagine a 23-year-old saying that like a 55-year-old seasoned, guy. And this is what I heard on the other side of the phone. He said, I apologize for having done that. I am sorry that I did that. I want you to understand this was frustrating for me because this is something that we've been waiting for you to do for 2 weeks. And I told him, I get it. I totally understand what you mean. I totally get it. And I am sorry about that. I will correct it. But thank you very much for apologizing. I said, okay. And he just left it at that. And we had a great working relationship from then on. So I've taken that to heart. I learned that when I was 23 years old. And I called back that mentor guy and I told him like, wow, it worked. Thank you. He taught me a life lesson. So from then on, I just realized I don't really have anything to lose by confronting people. As long as you do it with kindness and not in a defensive way. Just gonna let them know like, that made me feel like this. So something happened recently where an old acquaintance of mine, he was trolling me on my wall. So I contacted him and I said, because you know what, guys, when people are trolling you, it's more about them than about you. Because like, imagine, like I haven't talked to this person in 20 years and all of a sudden he has such strong opinions about what I'm posting. And it wasn't even like I was posting anything controversial. Like what he took exception to was when I posted something like this, and you may remember it. I posted, change your mind, pivot, change course, do something else, but never give up. He took that to heart. That, like an inspirational message. He took that to heart. And he said, you shouldn't be telling people what to do. Oh, I can't change my mind on my goals anymore because you say so. Like, that's the kind of stance that he was taking. Now, does he have a problem or do I have a problem? Right? So I sent him a message and I said, hey, buddy, how are you? Because friends don't do that to friends. Are you okay? And he never owned up to it. He never admitted with self-awareness what he was doing. So he kept sending me long messages telling me that I can't expect to put stuff out there and not be challenged on it. And I wouldn't take the bait. I wouldn't explain myself. I have nothing to explain to anybody, right? I did not take the bait. I just kept bringing it back to him. I'm like, got it? Why does it bother you so much what I'm doing? What is it? And he just kept hanging on to my stuff. So I went a couple rounds with him, like, yeah, but you have a choice. You could just not listen to it. You could just unfriend me. You could just block me, but you decided to go against me. Why? So I kept just going after him, like, can you explain your behavior? And he kept on saying that the things that I was saying were meant to be challenged. So at the end, I said, when I was done with the back and forth, in the end, I just told him, okay, I got it. Thank you very much for having this exchange with me. I feel like I learned something out of it, which I did, because that was an experience for me. I feel like I learned something out of this. At the same time, I want you to know that when you challenge my way of thinking online, it doesn't come off as helpful. It comes off as rude. So I would really appreciate it if you didn't do that anymore. If you feel like you can't stop yourself because it's against your principles, I would never ask you to go against your principles. I would welcome you to exercise your right to unfriend me, to block me, or to hide me. There's a way to just hide me from your feed. Can you please do that? What's it gonna be? And he replied saying, as you wish. I checked a little while later, and he didn't unfriend me, so he didn't block me either. He may have just hidden me from his feed, but he never commented on my stuff again. So this is not the same situation that our friend here from this group reported. She reported that she was posting in somebody else's group, I think, if I got that right. She was posting in somebody else's group, and this is the attack that she got. So here's the deal, people. People, I don't need to call you people, my friends. Here's the deal with that. When you're posting in somebody else's group, you are at the mercy of their rules and of their audience. I want you to remember that. When people come and post in this group, sometimes I delete their messages, right? For self-promotion, I allow what I allow, right? I want my group to be a welcoming place, not a group where people come and they feel like they're being, targeted with ads, right? From other people that they're not even willing to follow, right? So if I see somebody self-promoting outside of a thread where I've asked people to self-promote, I remove the post. Depending on the person, depending on how, much of a fit they are for the group, sometimes I remove them from the group, right? Without explaining anything. It's my space. I treat it any way I want. So when you post something in somebody else's group, I want you to know that you're subject to their rules. And I'm not saying that our friend was violating their rules. I'm assuming that she was totally meeting their rules exactly to the letter. But she still got, I want to say backslash. Can somebody else tell me what that word is that I'm looking for is? Lashback? Backlash. She still got lashed out for doing that by the audience. I'm not even talking about the admins, by the audience of it. So I want you to be prepared for that, all right? I have had my Facebook account locked out because I was posting the same comment on groups, right? On multiple groups, and my Facebook account got blocked. And I had to go and fight it with Facebook to please unblock my account. So you're gonna do a lot of things. It's gonna be trial and error, okay? Hi, Phyllis. Nice to see you. Hi, Rachel. You're going to do things and you're going to learn by trial and error. So now our friend learned backlash. Thank you, Joe, for coming to my rescue. Backlash. So you're going to find that. When you post in other people's groups, you are going to find that. You're putting yourself at risk. One time I posted in a mom's group that I was going to do a webinar and I needed a little help to see hey, you guys may find this interesting. I just want to know what the name of the webinar should be, which one resonates most with you. I wasn't selling anything. I wasn't putting a link to my group. I wasn't putting a link to anything else. I was just asking, guys, market research, what do you like? And I got people saying I am going to report this post, right? So you are at the mercy of other people's audiences and other people's rules. Remember that. So remember that there's always a risk when you post in somebody else as well. And that post, I ended up removing it after I had gotten a lot of responses. I really did get a lot of responses out of it. So I got what I needed. Backlash, I removed the post, right? That's what I did. How to deal with mean people that you know. If they don't understand what you're doing online, I don't think their opinion matters much, right? So you can do one of the things that I just mentioned. You can either unfriend them if you're just not interested in being in business with them, you're not interested in keeping a relationship with them, just unfriend them. You can just touch base with them and say, hey, I'm very sorry that that offended you. You don't have to explain yourself. Never explain yourself. I'm sorry that that offended you. Are we cool? Let them say whatever it is in their, like off their chest, right? Well, I don't like it that you're taking advantage of people, right? I'm sorry that you feel that way. I feel like I've helped a lot of people through my mentorship, right? So I'm sorry that that offended you. It really wasn't my intention. Are we okay? No, we're not okay because whatever. That's on them, right? Just say, I'm sorry that that offended you. I didn't mean to offend anybody by it. The end, right? So I just want you to understand that these things are going to happen. You are going to encounter these people. How do you deal with them? Don't defend yourself. You're putting yourself like straight into their hands. You're telling them they're right. That's what that means. When you're defending yourself, you're telling them, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. No, if you don't feel like you did anything wrong, you do not have anything to defend. You don't report to them. They're not your boss. You are your boss. Okay? If you did something that you feel you did something wrong, right? Delete the post, apologize to the people who were offended, and move on and try again next time. Okay? I really hope that this helps our friend out there. I did want to say something else. When you're posting in other people's group, remember that you're basically putting yourself in front of somebody else's audience, right? It's like I said, it's like when people come and post in this group, people know me, right? This is my group. You know my stuff, you know my spiel, you like my In After Darks, you like the podcast episodes, right? You're here because you kind of like this aura, this space. So when somebody else comes and they post something to try to get you to buy something or to join a different mastermind, it feels a little bit weird because you don't know who they are. It's just like an ad, right? So I have the prerogative to remove those if I want to. Sometimes I leave them, because I don't want to like shortchange you if you actually find that ad interesting. I don't want to shortchange you from opportunities. I think opportunities are good. So when you have your own Facebook group, you're free to do whatever you want. So really get your audience in, right? And talk to the people who actually want to hear you. But in the meantime, when you're posting in other people's groups, these are the kind of things that will happen. And it's sad and it's awful and you have to deal with meanies, but it happens. So I really hope that this was helpful. I really hope that I gave you permission to don't doubt yourself. You're doing great stuff in the world. Don't let a few small-minded people get in your way, and just do whatever feels right to you. But get rid of those feelings fast, okay? Don't let them drag you down. You're doing great work in the world, okay? That's what I had for you. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope that you will stick around for all the boosters happening this week. And I do recommend that even though you're in this group and you're going to see the booster videos anyway, that you sign up for the booster because you get a first email, a welcome email that explains the whole thing. It explains what program, I'm promoting. It explains how the giveaway works. It explains all of the stuff in there. And if you have questions, just come and ask them in the group or send me a personal message. Either one is fine. Or you can reply to the email, to the welcome email. I'm on the other side of that email box. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. Hope you have a wonderful night. I'm going to go have some fondue with my hubby. Bye, guys. Yay, thank you for watching. If you like that video, remember to subscribe right here to get notified of new episodes. And don't miss the podcast version, Trailblazing Out of Corporate Life. Go look it up and subscribe. I'll see you later. Bye.